So now this is the first video of actually making sentences with the subjunctive. At the top of the board back here, I have what we're going to call like the base formula for, or the base structure for constructing sentences in the subjunctive. It is a formula or a structure that you need to commit to memory. Please remember that every time we do a subjunctive sentence, well, most of the time it's going to look the same. There's just going to be something in the front half of the sentence. Maybe it will be an expression or a verb or whatever that's going to automatically trigger the subjunctive in the second half of the sentence. So what you see behind me whenever I move in a second will be the basic structure. I have 3 examples here. I might have to pause the video or create a new one, and I'm just going to continue putting more examples up on the board. And every time we start, let's call it like a new subjunctive grammar point, even though it might look very similar to you, you're going to see me go through the first couple of examples step by step and why things are the way they are and why this verb is here and why it's conjugated like that and stuff like that. And then as we do more and more examples, I might just have the examples up on the board for you and kind of walk you through them a little bit more quickly. Please also remember that you have all of the examples that I have behind me and all the rest of them for the rest of the videos available to you in the stuff that I have made available to you. So once again, the structure behind me, commit it to memory. Basically, every time we do another subjunctive sentence or another subjunctive grammar point, what it's going to be is either using this structure up here, a lot of the time, subtracting from it, meaning changing things and taking away from it and making a simpler structure different from this one that we have up here, or maybe adding to it and making it a more longer, more complex structure. So if you only remember one thing from this video, remember I, the student, need to commit this simple, basic sentence structure construction in the subjunctive, word for subjunctive sentences to memory, so that every other time we see something different, at least this is similar and it feels comfortable to us. So for the subjunctive sentences, we have this. Remember, this is the base structure or the base formula. We have person or subject number 1 in the front half of the sentence. If you remember back to the very first video that I did, so like the intro to the subjunctive, I said that we were generally, most of the time, going to have a subject in the front half of the sentence, a subject in the second half of the sentence, a verb in the front half of the sentence, and a verb in the second half of the sentence. This is probably the most important video to watch for how to create sentences in the subjunctive, just to get an idea of what they look like. I know that, by the way, it's dark outside. There is no sunlight coming in to help us. We have the glare from there. So we're just trying to do the best with what we have. I hope you can bear with me. And all of these examples, again, are on our course's site for you to look at. But at least you'll have me walking you through each of these sentences as we go. So again, our sentence structure, the basic structure is person or subject number 1, and then we have a verb in the present tense. For this first set of sentences that we're going to be looking at, we have a verb in the present tense, and then we have the word K. That word K is kind of sort of going to take on the meaning of that in English. For more information about what that is going to sound like or mean in English, you'll have to look back to, I think it was the very first video, the pre-intro to the subjunctive. Then we have person or subject number 2. And then last but not least, we have our verb in the subjunctive. If we need help on how do I conjugate verbs in the subjunctive, look back at all the videos before this one. So again, person or subject number 1, then a verb in the present tense, then the word K, that's going to kind of mean that, then person or subject number 2, and then our verb in the subjunctive. And I have a ... because the sentence might continue, but these are the core components of this basic sentence structure in the subjunctive or with the subjunctive in Spanish. So a couple of examples I have up here for you. If you can see, this says yo, then I have the verb querer that I'm going to want you to put into obviously the present tense. Then I have que, then I have tú, then I have the verb estudiar that I'm going to want you to put in the subjunctive. So if we look at this first example and we try to figure out how it parallels our sentence structure, it really is just a word by word plunk down from English to Spanish, and also from our structure to our sentence in Spanish. So this yo is our person or subject number one. If you notice, we have our verb in the present tense that is going to be conjugated based off person or subject number one. So in this sentence, querer, to want, is going to be conjugated based off of yo, which is person or subject number one in the sentence. So let's do that first. Querer, again, present tense. I hope you remember the present tense from like Spanish 1 curriculum, but present tense, querer, conjugated based off yo. We should all remember that it's yo quiero. Then we follow our structure up here and look down at our sentence, and we see that we have que, and then we have our person or subject number two, and then our verb that's going to be in the subjunctive in this example. Please remember that our verb in the subjunctive is going to be conjugated based off of person or subject number two. We're just filling in the blanks for right now, and then we'll worry about what it means in English and how to pronounce it and stuff like that. So we have the verb estudiar. It is a regular, happy AR verb in the subjunctive, and it's going to be conjugated based off of person number two, which is tú, you. So we have estudiar. If we wanted to walk through just out loud the steps of how do I conjugate estudiar, a regular happy AR verb in the subjunctive, we could look back at a video that will tell us how to do that. But let me just help you real quick. So we would do estudiar, take it back to the yo conjugation of the present tense, and we would get yo estudio, and then we would drop the O, and then we would add opposite endings. So remember, since it's an AR verb, our opposite endings are going to look like ER verb looking endings. So if I did yo estudio and got rid of the O, I would have this. E-S-T-U-D-I, because we got rid of the O from the yo conjugation of the present tense, and then we plunk on our appropriate endings for the subjunctive. Remember that we have to conjugate estudiar in the subjunctive based off of tú, and so the appropriate subjunctive ending for tú would be es, and our verb in the subjunctive would be estudies. So this whole sentence will read out, yo quiero que tú estudies. Think for a second about what that sentence might mean. It's kind of weird because, especially whenever we have want, to want, querer, here in the front half of the sentence, we don't generally speak like that in English. It sounds extremely formal to us, but remember that while it might sound formal to us, this is the only way in which this sentence can be put together in Spanish. So if we just did it word for word, it would sound like, I want that you study. If I walked up to you as a student and said, hey, you know what, Bob, I want that you study, that would sound odd or formal or weird or like I didn't know English. But technically it's proper English. We, in our everyday kind of colloquial speech, we don't speak like that. We probably wouldn't say, I want that you study. We would probably say, I want you to study. But remember that it's extremely important not to take your sentence in English and then try to convert it into Spanish because, well, honestly, it's just not going to work. If you try to do, I want you to study, you would do, I want, yo quiero, and then you would write down tú, and then you would say to study, estudiar, and yo quiero tú estudiar means nothing to any Spanish speaker. So just remember that a lot of the time Some of the triggers that happen in the front half of the sentence require us to use the subjunctive in the second half of the sentence, just cause, and that if we try to do it any other way, it means nothing. So even though this, our very first sentence in the subjunctive, sounds weird, and it sounds like I want that you study, you can hopefully see by this semi-brief-ish explanation that is the only way that we can do it, and that in real life we would probably say, hey Bob, I want you to study. And in Spanish we would say, hey Bob, yo quiero que tú estudies, and that will be our subjunctive sentence. Yo quiero que tú estudies. Please remember that here in the present tense, I could take out the yo if I wanted to. I could just say, quiero que tú estudies, and that would be fine. And even in the subjunctive, if I wanted to get rid of the tú, I could say, yo quiero que estudies, and that would be fine. Are either one of those variations necessary? No. I could take out both subjects. I could take out the yo and the tú. Can you just hear over? Doggies barking. Hopefully you can do this. I'm gonna keep them going. I'll just talk louder than the dogs are barking. Anyhow, if I wanted to take out the yo and the tú, I could do that as well. I could say, quiero que estudies. Walk up to a student, a Spanish-speaking student, and say, hey, you know what? Your grade's really slipping. Quiero que estudies, and that would be absolutely fine. Remember that we could say, quiero que estudies, yo quiero que estudies, quiero que tú estudies, or we could do it just like we originally did it up here and leave it as yo quiero que tú estudies, leaving in all subjects and not omitting any obvious ones. Our next sentence. We have Jose over here as person or subject number one. Obviously, he is a third person singular subject, so it's like él, but we're going to call him Jose over here. By the way, I realized that I'm off the screen, but I wanted to make sure that you could still see the example, so I prefer for me to be off the screen and for you to still be able to see the words, hopefully up here on the wall. So we have Jose as person or subject number one. We have the verb preferir now that we're going to put in the present tense. We have to remember something from Spanish 1. The verb preferir is an E to IE stem change verb. So this E right here is going to change, and it's going to be an E to IE stem change. If we remember back, present tense, Spanish 1, if I want to say Jose prefers, because preferir means to prefer, if I want to say Jose prefers, I will do Jose prefiere. And prefiere is that way because it is an E to IE stem change verb in the present tense, which would be Spanish 1 curriculum. I'm going to write that in. So we have Jose prefiere. Why do we put that in the present tense? Because we look back up here at our basic structure or our basic formula, and it tells us to. Then we have the word que. Then we have su esposa, his wife. And then we have the verb lavar. Lavar means what? It means to wash. And I'm going to put a smiley face by it. It is a regular, happy AR verb, once again, in the subjunctive. How do we know it's going to be in the subjunctive? Because we look up here at our basic structure for the subjunctive type sentences that we're working with right now. And we see that this verb in the subjunctive is going to be conjugated based off this person, so with number 2. The subject number 2 in the sentence is su esposa, his wife, so it's like ella. And lavar is going to be conjugated based off of her. Again, if I walk you through the steps of how do I make this verb in the subjunctive, we take lavar back to the yo conjugation of the present tense. We would get yo lavo, L-A-V-O. We would chop off the final O and then add the appropriate subjunctive ending for that. So we would come up with lave. That is the el, ella, usted conjugation for lavar in the subjunctive, lave. And then we finish out the sentence by saying los platos. So let's do the pieces parts of this sentence and try to figure out kind of what it means. We have Jose that's the guy, prefers, prefiere, that, que, su esposa, his wife, lavar, to wash or washes, los platos, the plates, or better yet, the dishes. So the whole sentence we have is, José prefiere que su esposa lave los platos. José prefiere que su esposa lave los platos. If I asked you, what does that sentence mean? And we did it just in English to Spanish plunk down, it's another example of a sentence that might sound a little bit weird, because word for word, we would kind of try to translate it as, Jose prefers that his wife wash the plates or wash the dishes. Jose prefers that his wife wash the dishes. Sounds a little bit odd, but remember that it would be kind of like in our everyday, colloquial, quotidian, whatever, everyday English, we probably wouldn't say Jose prefers that his wife wash the dishes. We would say Jose, oh no, we might. Jose prefers that his wife wash the dishes because he doesn't want to. No, that might sound okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say that probably sounds okay to most of us. Our last sentence that we have up here, and then I'm gonna try to pause the video, or maybe I might have to record another one. We'll see. Is, remember in this one, Jose prefers that his wife wash the dishes, and in this sentence right here, now we're starting off with his wife, su esposa. We have the verb necesitar here in the front half of the sentence. What tense is that going to be in? It's going to be in the present tense. If we just look back up here, so we're going to have necesitar, to need, in the present tense, conjugated based off of our person or subject number one. So we have necesitar, to need, conjugated based off of his wife, ella, in the present tense. So we will say, su esposa necesita present tense, su esposa necesita que, then we have él, obviously él, he is person or subject number two, if we look up here. And then limpiar is not the same as lavar as we had in the prior sentence. Lavar means to wash. Limpiar means to clean. A little bit of a difference, but they're often used incorrectly and interchangeably, and they're not always interchangeable. I'm going to put a smiley face by it because, once again, it is a regular happy AR verb, but these first three sentences I tried to give just regular happy verbs in the subjunctive until we get used to this. So we need limpiar, to clean or to wash. To clean, conjugated in the subjunctive, based off of person or subject number two, which in this sentence is él, he. So if we walk through it, we would take you back and say, all right, we're going to do step one, limpiar, yo box, or yo conjugation of the present tense, and it will be yo limpio. Remember, that's just step one. Then we drop the O, and we would end up with L-I-M-P-I, because we got rid of the O, and then we would have to add the appropriate conjugation for the subjunctive based off of A, and we would add an E right here. Limpie is our appropriate conjugation in the subjunctive, conjugated based off of A, our person or subject number two. So the whole sentence will be, su esposa necesita que él limpie el baño. If we try to do an English to Spanish plunk down in terms of what does that sentence mean, we would say his wife needs, necesitar, to need, his wife needs that he clean the bathroom. His wife needs that he clean the bathroom. If you kind of think about the sentence before that, Jose prefers that his wife wash the dishes. Oh, but wait, now his wife needs that he clean the bathroom, like they're doing some bargaining about housework or something, right? His wife needs that he clean the bathroom. I think maybe in our regular everyday English, we might say something like, his wife needs him to clean the bathroom. If you need to write down his wife needs him to clean the bathroom, that's fine. Just make sure that you're not ever trying to take your English translation and then try to put it into Spanish like that, because we'll always have to follow this structure. I'm going to try to pause the video right now. It might stop on us, and you might see a new video, or it might just pause and then pick up from here. But I'm going to put some more examples up here for us to go through. Okay, so next set of example sentences. There's one here at the bottom that we're gonna morph just a little bit, but the next set of example sentences that still follow the same structure. So earlier on, you saw the basic sentence structure, which was person or subject number one, and then verb in the present tense conjugated based off of person or subject number one, and then the word que, and then person or subject number two, and then the verb in the subjunctive that was conjugated based off of person or subject number two. We're still following that structure right here. I thought this was an appropriate sentence for right now because this is called COVID-19. Is the coronavirus, and we're kind of sort of quarantined-ish. So the first example sentence says, el gobierno means the government, prohibir means to prohibit, que nosotros means we, salir means to leave or to go out, and de nuestras casas, from our houses or from our homes. So the whole sentence is technically going to be the government prohibits that we leave our houses. That's what's going to end up, it's going to end up being in English, the government prohibits that we leave our houses. The way that we put this together, remember, is this verb prohibir is going to be in the present tense, and it's going to be conjugated based off the government. The government isn't a person number one, but it is a subject number one. The government is a third person singular subject, so it would be conjugated as if it were él, ella, usted, something like that. Third person singular. So if we go back to the present tense, we're going to do like this, and oh, please. El gobierno prohíbe, that's the present tense, el gobierno prohíbe, even though you see the H there, remember that H's don't have a sound in Spanish, so don't pronounce it. El gobierno prohíbe que nosotros, that's we, right? And we need to do salir, to leave or to go out, in the subjunctive, and we need to conjugate this based off of nosotros. Salir is not a happy verb. It is a spell change verb. Why or how do we know this? Is because if we took it back to the yo conjugation of the present tense, it would be yo salgo, S-A-L-G-O. Where did that crazy G come from? We don't know, but in a prior video, we explained that when you have an unexpected G or Z in the yo conjugation of the present tense, that will kind of clue you in that you're dealing with a spell change verb. So we're going to have this crazy G that's going to be in there. And in case you want to jot this down, the verb salir in the subjunctive, if we go through all the steps, and I'll kind of out loud do the conjugation box for you, I would maybe potentially, probably, hopefully, a good idea. Think about jotting this down. It's also in the information that I have available for you on the courses site. But salir, we would go, yo box present tense will be salgo. We would drop the O, and then we would add appropriate endings since it's an ER, or in this case, an IR verb. The subjunctive endings will be AR verb looking. And so in the subjunctive, it will be salga, S-A-L-G-A as our starting point. So it'll be salga, and then the to conjugation will be salgas, and then salga again, and then nosotros. Remember that in spell change verbs, that G or Z is going to follow through to every single box. So it'll be salgamos, and then ellos, ellas, ustedes will be salgan. So the verb salir in the subjunctive, salga, salgas, salga, salgamos, salgan. if you are just kind of thinking about what you might throw in this blank, based on our sentence, we have to conjugate it nosotros. So we're going to put salgamos. And that is our appropriate subjunctive for this sentence. Salgamos, S-A-L-G-A-M-O-S. So our whole sentence, the government prohibits that we leave our houses, will be, el gobierno prohíbe que nosotros salgamos de nuestras casas. Our next sentence, la profesora, the professor, esperar. Esperar is kind of a curious verb, especially in the present tense, because it has so many different meanings. So one of the meanings for the verb esperar that you might have learned even in a Spanish 1 class or a Spanish 2 class, esperar can mean to wait. But whenever we find it in the front half of the sentence, and the subjunctive is in the second half of the sentence, esperar generally means to expect or to hope. So just remember, when we see esperar with these sentences in the front half of the sentence, it's generally going to mean to expect or to hope, and then we're going to have to use the subjunctive in the second half of the sentence. So esperar in the present tense, we're going to conjugate it based off of she or la profesora, que, tú, and then we have llegar, which again means to arrive. We looked at that in a previous video when we were looking at gar verbs. So you can look back at that video to refresh your memories on this verb. Llegar, to arrive, subjunctive. In this case, it will be conjugated based off of tú. And then a tiempo means on time. So the sentence is gonna end up meaning the professor hopes or the professor expects that you arrive on time. Again, in English, it would be something like the professor hopes or the professor expects that you arrive on time. So now we'll fill in the blanks. Esperar in the present tense, conjugated based off of la profesora. We'll have espera. La profesora espera que tú, and then we need to put this in the subjunctive. Hopefully you're paying attention to the other videos with the gar verbs, and we would fill in the blanks with llegues. We have to remember with the gar verbs that what's important is to remember that the G would have to be followed by a U, and then we would add on the appropriate subjunctive ending. So llegues, L-L-E-G-U-E-S, llegar in the subjunctive conjugated based off of tú. And then a tiempo, meaning on time. And our last sentence here before we morph it just a little bit, I guess there's just a little added note, but it is something that you need to know. We have person or subject number 1 is yo. Then we have esperar again. In this sentence up here with the la profesora espera, it could be the professor hopes that you arrive on time or the professor expects that you arrive on time, and either meaning would kind of fit there. But in this sentence, yo, with this esperar right here, we're going to pretend that this sentence works best if esperar means to hope and not to expect, just to hope for right now. So we have yo, esperar. We're going to pretend that it's going to work best, meaning to hope. It's going to be in the present tense, conjugated based off of yo, because that's person or subject number 1. And we have this que, then we have ella, then we have the verb ir. So just to look at the second half of the sentence, ella, she, is my person or subject number 2, and ir is going to be my verb in the subjunctive. Again, if you looked at a prior video, one of them about irregular verbs reminded you that ir is an irregular verb in the subjunctive. It just has to be memorized. So please look back at that video to refresh your memory on what that verb might be, or on you could look at any of the resources that I have available for you as well. This is irregular, so if you are up to that point and you have memorized your regular verbs, then you'll be able to help me to fill it in. If not, I'm going to fill it in for you, and you can, once you memorize it, then I guess it'll make a little bit more sense. So the end of the sentence is a la fiesta conmigo, conmigo meaning with me, fiesta meaning party, somebody, blah, 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 to the party with me. And so this sentence is going to end up meaning in English something like, I hope that she goes to the party with me. I hope that she goes to the party with me. So we're going to fill in esperar in the present tense conjugated based off yo, and that will be yo espero que ella. Remember that it is irregular. If we know it, then we'll fill it in. If not, then we'll catch up later, I guess. Ir in the subjunctive conjugated based off ella will be vaya. So yo espero que ella vaya a la fiesta conmigo will be something like, I hope that she goes to the party with me. The reason I say we're going to morph this sentence just a little bit is because we have an expression in Spanish, and it's ojalá. It actually has, it comes from Arabic. It has Arabic influence, and it's just something that Spanish speakers use. It doesn't matter whether you're from Spain or from Mexico or wherever you might be from. Spanish speakers around the world use this expression, ojalá, instead of or in place of I hope. Please remember that. That is key. Ojalá, if you can see this, is spelled O-J-A-L-A with an accent. Ojalá does not mean we hope or she hopes or Bob hopes or y'all hope. It only is synonymous with I hope. So if we ever have a sentence like, the professor hopes that you arrive on time, we cannot put in ojalá in place of la profesora espera. The professor hopes. The only time that we can take out yo espero or I hope and throw anything in place of it is when it is I hope. Please remember that. Ojalá is synonymous with I hope. So what we can do is, since we had yo espero, I hope that she goes to the party with me, we could, if we wanted to, rub really hard and erase this. And then, instead of yo espero, remember, I hope and only I hope, we have the option of just using an expression that Spanish speakers use around the world, and it's ojalá. Once again, written O-J-A-L-A, accent mark on the A. And so these three sentences, el gobierno prohíbe que nosotros salgamos de nuestras casas. Again, that would be the government prohibits that we leave our homes. So optimistic today. Second sentence, la profesora espera que tú llegues a tiempo. So the professor expects that you arrive on time, or maybe the professor hopes that you arrive on time. And this last one, before we morphed it a little bit, used the common expression, ojalá. It was yo espero, I hope, yo espero que ella vaya a la fiesta conmigo. And then we took out the yo espero, I hope, and plunked down the ojalá. Remember, it's not a verb. It can't be conjugated. It's just an expression. Ojalá que ella vaya a la fiesta conmigo, which would have the same meaning as I hope that she goes to the party with me. Just maybe, no more examples for this lesson. I'm going to stop this video, and then the next one will be, we'll call it like a different kind of sentence using the subjunctive.